motherfucker.
Yo. All right, what's up, guys? It's May 9th, 2026. Okay, so let's review certain things. Yesterday we had Moderna pop. So Moderna tried to pop on Thursday, but we finally got our pop. It was up like 25%. It was like pretty high at one point. After hours, it came back up. It pulled back. Uh, I mean, pre-market, then to like during the day. I mean, I don't know, nothing pre-market, but it was during the day, and then it got pushed up to 20 something percent, pulled back to like 9 or something percent. So, man, I guess it's time to go leverage on that one too. I think that one is ready as well. So let's review certain stocks here. First, let's get to it. Let's review certain stocks first, and then we'll get to what I feel like we should do about Moderna, as well as Iran and the other ones. Okay, so space stocks, they had earnings. We're starting the earnings cycles for space stocks. So Rocket Labs reported. Okay, that was up 20 something percent, maybe 30. Let's see, 30. Yeah, 34%. And then Lunar, Lunar started following it. So I guess this is the 2x leverage of Lunar, 20% Lunar. AST, yeah, that one followed it. Oh, these two guys are pretty bad. Forget those two for now. So we got Lunar, LUNR, Rocket Lab. So there's 2x leverage for both of these stocks. LUNL, RKRLX. Okay, so if we are ready for the pump for the space stocks, then I'm gonna have to add those to the list too. We got those to add to the list of things that will go through June. Okay, now again, let me review rare earth and lithium. LAR, one of my top picks. SGML, both of these did not take a break. You see, once they broke out, they just kept going. Those two are the top ones. The government is in USAR and LAC and MP. So this is rare earth MP, lithium is LAC, and USAR rare earth. So the ones that I like, this one Argentina and Sigma. So Canada and Argentina, those two are the top ones, and then we might have some ones that the U.S. government is invested in for U.S. mining, USAR, LAC, and MP. Okay, so those three might be the next ones up to be put on the list here. And then we have the nuclear stocks as well, because I think you guys have heard that the 3 Mile Island is being restarted, right? That's old news, but they just regurgitated it again on Friday that they're ready to restart it for, I guess, Amazon or Microsoft data centers. I forget. So 3 Mile Island is coming back online with one of the reactors turning on. I don't know if all the reactors will be turned on, but yeah, that's going to hype up uranium and all these things. But you're going to have to wait for earnings for some of these, right? I just don't know. They're kind of not all of them are going to be good. Some of them look like trash still, right? They're just from the bottom trying to get back up still. And so let me see which ones are the best ones performing. So this penny stock, I'm not sure if I want to tell you guys really, like, okay, it's 8 cents, but AMFED, American Fusion, it's like, dude, that's a gambling stock. Maybe you put like $1,000 at most into it. Maybe you'll get lucky and it will go like 2,000% sometime down the line, 3,000, 5,000, right? But I wouldn't risk any more than that. It's not like a sand disk, okay? It's not definitely not like a sand disk where you can just like put more than. It's not a well-established company, so I'm not sure exactly how well this company will fare in the future. Oklo, OKLO, is trying to come out from the bottom, right? It hit a bottom at $50 in April, late March into early April. It's trying to move up now. So within a month, it's up 44%. SMR and then they all are bottom feeding stocks. See, they're still at the bottom, I think, all these guys. Okay, so these top ones up here, the rest are just like random. GEV industrial still doing okay. It's always been strong, so that one's never. I think it's pulling back still right now as we speak, from Friday. Okay, so this one, wait a while. Uranium, wait a while. Lithium, rare earth, it's going to go. Okay, so that's the priority right now. Lithium, but I think you'll get a dip. I think you'll get a dip into August. So I don't think you should be really concerned about that. The space stocks, they might just go because with Rocket Lab earnings done and out of the way, we'll have ASTS next. I think ASTS is the next one, 5/11. Okay, so I think that's Monday, right? May 5th. Yes. Okay, May 11th. Okay, yeah, that's right. ASTS is the next one after the close on Monday. So watch that one. That's the next one up. That's usually a very popular stock. If you look at it right now, it's been moving down, all right, into earnings. So it's at 75 right now, even with the pop up 14.8%. Thanks to Rocket Labs. We'll see how that one goes. This one's more for satellites. Okay, this one's more for satellites. Um, Rocket Lab is actually a lower cost SpaceX type of. It's like Timu SpaceX for people that can't afford a larger rocket or don't need a larger rocket. They'll go for Rocket Lab RKLB. Okay, and Lunar. Well, we'll see how that one goes. Lunar is, let's see, earnings May 14th. Okay, May 14th. That's Thursday. All right, so those will be the next ones up. All right, so let's review uh, Moderna. So we got the hantavirus kind of hype now. Is that enough to push everything up? Well, let's see. Let's see. So I'm gonna review my old video now. So this is gonna be a quick show, just to give you a quick update. Okay, just a quick update, guys. So let me review what I said in the past. Private equity. Okay, so I said something about this in 13 minutes or so. Okay. Even if it doesn't go down, it's going sideways. You're missing out on a lot of money. We're gonna go sideways for. Okay, blah blah blah. 13 seconds, 13 minutes. What are the best ETFs? Yeah, we'll go over that. So yeah. So if you're not willing to short, then just hold up. Because we are gonna have a bounce. It's gonna trick people. People are gonna chase that. And that's when I'm gonna short. So I don't know about SOX L versus SOX S. I think the software is going to be where everything's going to have the fun times. Okay, that's where the fun times are going to be. So, well, I was wrong on that. People just ran back to semiconductors anyway after they were kind of teasing software a little bit, but hopefully that's over because then they can go to the software side. We need that right now. I think it's way overblown on Friday. They just ran right back into the memory and Intel again. So Micron and Intel. It's just too ridiculous. It's just now 2-3 stocks pushing everything up over there. Okay, and watching very closely is mRNA. I was talking about Moderna. If you look at Moderna, this is a perfect picture here. This is a Wyckoff bottom, okay? So if you look at that, it's made a bottom. And this is over how many months now? So this is pretty much like nearly two years. So this is perfect picture right here. So I'm gonna be watching this one because healthcare will be the next one up. When you go into a recession, healthcare is going to be this place to be, a healthcare sector. So I think this has a big chance of going up a lot from here. We're at $49. So yeah, we could see like $200 next, and then after 200, well, okay, I don't know if it's going to back up to 500, 600. That's COVID shit. COVID was a one-off. I don't know how good Moderna is. Well, we got the hantavirus now. I still don't know if hantavirus will be enough hype to push Moderna up right away, but it did on Friday. Let's see if it holds. Let's see if it holds a tight range and can push up. If it does, then that $700, $800 target that the DeMark indicators are giving, that doesn't look so far-fetched anymore. It might go that high. That will go that high. Come on. So, all right. So that's where do we want to be. And there is a leverage ETF for Moderna. So that's a new leverage ETF, MRNX. Okay, MRNX. That's where we're going to be at. So, all right. Let me see. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna probably have to get a new laptop. This memory stuff is just gonna be killing me with all this. Oh my god. Okay, all right. Blah 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 blah. Okay. All right, done with that. So, yeah, the other thing is that on Thursday, gold. So, if you're trading, you do GDXD and GDXU. All right. So I was done with that. All right. Okay. Finished. So that was like over a month ago. Okay. And then I mentioned it again a couple weeks ago, Moderna. So now we're moving up. That's the game plan. All right. So let me put these things up here. I gave a tweet this week and someone replied. So I might as well give that a go. All right. So let me put these up. Okay. So let's see, 78-minute Moderna, weekly Moderna. Okay. So this was my tweet. I said, I recommended 2 stocks because I said, like, if the market is crazy, then there's going to be 2 stocks that I would be thinking would be the next ones to go crazy. mRNA and HIMS. HIMS reports earnings Monday after the close. So HIMS is next too. So I don't know about the peptide stuff. I think there's also like a leverage ETF for HIMS. I don't know if I want to be recommending that just yet, but okay. So we'll have to look at the chart for HIMS. So there you go, HIMS. Okay, remember that one? That will report earnings after the close. What's up, tropes? So that's it. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so HIMS is it. That's going to be the next one. But somebody asked me, Moderna is basically a fallen angel. This is May 6th, see, at this point. Do you think it has a second act beyond COVID? Or is this just a classic stupid contrarian play to catch a bounce? And I responded, I just look at technicals. It built a large base since the post-COVID drop. Okay, I replayed that video where I showed what I was thinking about Moderna because it made a nice looking base. Second reason, the XBI biotechs have outperformed on a relative basis. So XBI divided by SPY, it's the best performing healthcare stock sector, a subsector, I guess you can say it's a subsector. And then the third point was that I'm waiting for XLV, the healthcare sector, the broad healthcare sector. So not only small cap biotechs, but also uh, the bigger pharmaceuticals like Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and some other healthcare like CVS. I guess is considered healthcare too, right? And some of those health insurance sucks. Don't do health insurance. And then the other one are like man, I forgot the drug pusher stock, the big drug pusher stock. It's a drug distribution stock. It used to have a headquarters in San Francisco. They moved to Texas. McKesson. Okay. That one is MCK. That's a very, very good large cap healthcare stock that you should have in your long-term portfolio. It rarely goes down a lot. It just always just pretty much goes up. So it's the King Kong of drug dealers. Okay, so this one is the biggest drug dealers that you can have in the whole world, and it's just MCK. You just can't beat it. Just go for that one. All right. Okay. So hope you guys got that. MCK. I don't know about the other one on this list here. Cencora, CAH. I don't look too much in the healthcare sector except for the top ones. And MCK, McKesson is always the top one. So if you have like a long-term portfolio, you should always have that one in in there for the full run, you know? You can just leave it there for 20 years or something. You don't have to worry. It's not something you trade, really, in my opinion. Okay, so if you want a late stage bull market to a recession, the XLV sector is the one where you want to be. And since XBI has already been moving up, despite the fact that we don't have low interest rates yet, it's already moving up. Guess what? Eventually, something will break. The Fed will say, whoopsie, we better lower interest rates now. XBI will just rocket up even further. So XBI has already been outperforming despite that. Okay, despite that, it usually needs to have low interest rates for people to be interested in that kind of stock because high interest rate environments, biotechs look very bad. Biotechs always have to get loans to keep their business running, keep the lights on. Okay, they are essentially lottery ticket type stocks and they don't make any profit. They have to always get loans and re-up their loans every time to keep their business afloat. And when interest rates go higher, the cost of doing business, the cost of it still having to do research, still having to apply to FDAs and get their drugs approved and hope that somebody will buy them out, that's the cost of it. You're essentially just buying something with a lot of duration. So you can think of XBI as a very, very, very crappy bond that so if it that's how you should look at it. It's something you just hold and hope for the best. It's a really, really, it's kind of like a junk bond equivalent of the stock market world. Anyway, if you want some narrative story, then mRNA cancer vax, which is my primary reason to be in it, because I think some of these cancer vaccine treatments will be in play pretty soon, and mRNA technology has really beat everybody else out. So thanks to COVID, they've accelerated their research, right? Because they got a free test run of their technology during COVID. A lot of the reason mRNA was really looked down upon was because you need to freeze the vaccine to store it and distribute it. It's very expensive to push out mRNA vaccines without that ultra cold frozen uh, distribution network set up. You just can't do it. But since COVID, everything's built out. They're already used to using mRNA vaccines. People are already used to that now after COVID. So there's less aversion to new technology, right? So if they say like, well, this will save you from a lot of terrible chemo treatments, right? For now, it has to be used alongside chemo, but maybe eventually it'll be like, well, you don't need to do a lot of chemo if you take this vax alongside the chemo treatment. Then people will be like, sure, I'll take it because I don't want to be on chemo for so long, right? And maybe down the line they'll improve it to the point where you don't even need chemo anymore, and this thing will become really a miracle drug that they'll push out to everyone. If you want to live longer, you need mRNA vax. So that was my primary kind of motivation to keep being bullish on mRNA because it's the leader in mRNA technology right now. The other one is AstraZeneca, which is UK based, and they cooperate with Pfizer, right? So AstraZeneca could be the next one up, the number two, because they recently moved their stock from only the UK, and then they kind of did like over the counter stock in the US. And then now I think they've listed on the NASDAQ or the NYSE. So now there's a lot more volume in that stock I've seen this year. So AstraZeneca could be the next one to look at for me. But for now, just focus on mRNA. And with the hantavirus, we'll see if this actually pushes it. I don't think so. I don't think the hantavirus is enough of a reason to really uh, go hard on it yet, but the chart looks so damn good. The chart just looks so damn good right now. So let's look at the 78-minute. The 78-minute chart, you see, this was like right now at 54 at the close. And then after market, it started melting up a little bit, 4, 5, 6%. So let's see what happens on Monday. I don't know if this hantavirus news will keep it pushing past 60, but it could. So get ready. Keep watching it, because the next target is intermediate target is around $74 from this 54 area, 55 and 60 area. We could push on to 75 before we take a break and make a little new range up here at a higher level. Now the longer term target, based on the weekly chart here with the DeMark like waves. Okay, so we do the Elliott waves modified by DeMark with DeMark rules. We see that the next target is 797, so 700 to $800. I don't know if hantavirus is going to be the reason it'll go up there very shortly, but it could be one of the reasons that at least we can get to 70 something dollars. And then something else will come around, an FDA approval on their cancer vax treatments, that will push it up to 200 again. And then we'll see if it can go to 400, 500, 700, 800. But 800 is basically the target that we're seeing to get to if everything plays out correctly. Okay, so that's the potential. I'm just giving you the potential. All right, that's it. Okay, good. That's all I want to say about the Moderna, I think. That's all I got to say about that. And anything else? Let me do some of the cycle stuff here for the wheat and soybean sectors. So I heard some news that we're in a big drought. So apparently we're in a big drought. Okay, so this might be interesting. So this is soybean oil. We got until like early 2027. So maybe first quarter, second quarter, there'll be a top in soybean oil. Soybean oil has been the one that's been leading everybody else. This is the wheat in the daily one. So this is the weekly. So this is more long term. In the daily side for wheat, okay, this one looks like that. Okay, whatever. I don't want to try split view right now. Sorry. So this one, I think we are at a intermediate short-term top. Okay, for wheat. So I'm looking for a little sideways motion through July, and we'll see if we want to be aggressive there. So that'll be the next play. So after we're done with rocket ships and Moderna and maybe all the Hut and Iran stuff, we'll go look at that. This is the weekly. So this is similar to the soybean oil. We got somewhere in 2027 where we'll have a top in wheat. Okay, so that will be the one to be looking at this summer to get into the wheat, the soy, the corn. So if this drought stuff pans out, then we'll get to it. Might be there. Well, I think it's the Hanta. Oh, okay. Well, don't touch anyone. Don't touch anyone. But yeah, we're gonna get there. So pretty good. That should be the next big plays. Okay. Good. That's enough. All right. What else I want to look at? I might have an article on that wheat stuff. I didn't read it yet. There's some articles here. Let me see if I got that. Okay, I do have an article. Yeah, I could read a little bit of this. This is a long article. It's a damn long article. Fuck. I don't know. So I don't have much time. Honestly, I just came here to talk a little bit with you guys about Moderna. And then I'll at the end I'll talk about Iran and Hut. But since I brought up the wheat stuff here. This article is based upon an analysis of a climate change black swan event currently spreading across America. As of April 28th, the U.S. Drought Monitor confirmed much of the country in various stages of drought, with some regions in serious condition. The plain states and entire southeast are trapped in various stages of unending drought. The West is another story. So California is safe altogether, experiencing lost snowpack like never before in history, right? But so far in California, we got a good amount of snow. Not great, not the biggest amount of snow, but we probably can push on a little bit further. Hopefully, there's no fires this season, but there still could be, right? So watch out for August into November. Maybe there'll be some fires. Okay, but at least for Northern California, I think we're okay. I don't know. Southern California might be a different story. But the most haunting number is the Palmer Drought Severity Index (PDSI) for March, based on NOAA National Centers for Environmental Information. So the NOAA NCEI data. March 2026 recorded an exceptionally low Palmer Drought Severity Index (PDSI) of negative 7.84 for the contiguous U.S. This is the most severe March reading since 1895, or 131 years ago. All right, so we got a dust bowl or something. Mainstream news outlets claim it's a normal dry season, but the intensity and reach more closely resemble a sinister black swan event with earmarks of what could become an irreversible systemic collapse. The atmosphere is locked in a very high percentile heat shock, plummeting snow water equivalents SWE to dangerous lows, accompanied by a stiff La Nina feedback loop. Unlike the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, this double drought is simultaneously draining the fossilized Ogallala. Never even heard of this. Ogallala. Okay, well, yeah, aquifer, and pushing the Colorado River Basin past its absolute physical tipping point. The national power grid and massive AI data centers. Oh, great. Yeah, I forgot about that. We got a whole bunch of new data centers being built in Texas and Utah. Oh, man. We got like semiconductor fabs in Arizona. Oh, right. I'm sure they don't take a lot of water, huh? Wink, wink. Mega cities and 40 million people could be facing an inescapable, catastrophic breaking point. After all, the entire West Coast is totally dependent upon water. It's everything. It's the lifeblood of existence. Yeah, no shit. Snowpack's water bank turning bankrupt. The snowpack water bank is the only thing that keeps the vast infrastructure operational. So, yeah, we got some snow this season, but has never been so sparse at this crucial stage. The trusty water bank may be going bankrupt. The unbelievable heat wave in March triggered a broken down chain reaction. In the Colorado River Basin, the Rio Grande, and the Sierra Nevada, the snow did not melt. It evaporated and forcibly flowed downstream. Oh, crap. Drought.gov confirmed the collapse in early April. Snow water equivalent SWE plummeted. A drought emergency has already been declared in some states in mid-spring, way too early on a normal basis for such a declaration. Alas, this season has experienced not only slight snowfall, but of more significance, the water supply calendar for nearly one half of America has been nearly destroyed. Tons of water have been forced down by inordinate heat in March, overwhelming reservoirs down below that were forced to release massive amounts of precious water, or burst from overflow that otherwise would have been available during the upcoming hotter summer months. Indeed, it's a black swan event of unprecedented proportions. Yeah, there was a big heat wave across the U.S., huh? Yeah, there was. Holy shit. Any stock moving from the UFO stuff? No, nobody cares about the UFO stuff in the stock market. Okay, so weather modification. Well, there you go, guys. Well, if you want to blame HARP for this, that's up to you. Anyhow, yeah, so there's a lot of more stuff here. Maybe I'll continue reading this some other time. Okay, but overall, it's probably bullish for wheat, corn, soy. So anything with food. So plus the Hormuz Strait. So fertilizer prices going up, food, grain prices going up. shipment prices going up due to higher diesel prices going up. So yeah, overall food prices are going up. So yeah, you better go long on inflation. Long inflation meaning go long on the wheat, corn, and soy, and that will feed and trickle down to the meat and dairy as well. Right there, you go. Egg prices are still low, so I don't think you have to worry about eggs. Egg prices have crashed. So maybe I'll read this thing a little bit here. I found this article recently. I found this one. This one might be interesting. How long can soy oil prop up the soybean market? Oh, okay. So the soy oil futures are the reason everything else is rising, eh? So they've rallied over 50% this year to lead ag commodities. Yep, I've noticed that. Riding a biofuels boom that's buoyed soybean prices. But how long can the ride last? Okay. Biofuels drive soy oil price rally and push up soybean prices. So it's the biofuels, huh? Move over corn, cattle, and cotton. The star performer among U.S. ag commodities so far this year is soybean oil. At one time, a bit player in the market, soy oil is now one of the hottest trades going. Yep. Soy oil futures soared 54% this year through April, reaching the highest level since late 2022 and outpacing most other major ag markets, including soybeans, which were up about 15%. Average daily soy oil futures trading jumped nearly 50% and almost matched that of Chicago and Kansas City wheat trading combined. Soy oil's ascension was fueled by a powerful combination: war-driven rallies in crude oil and diesel markets, and an outlook for sharply higher U.S. biofuels blending mandates. Oh man, so they just dump soy oil into your like gasoline too? Man, it's not just corn ethanol, huh? This situation provides a welcome reprieve for U.S. farmers by propping up a sagging soybean oil market that languished much of last year under the weight of massive South American harvests and losing China's business. Soybean traders, speculators in particular, happily coasted on the bullish tailwinds in late April. A new crop, November soybean futures closed in on $11.8 per bushel, near a 2-year high. In March, old crop futures traded as high as $12.50. For farmers, it's a good time to question just how much longer the ride can last. The longer term bullish story is well established. U.S. soybean processors are expected to crush a record amount for the fourth year in a row, based on a USDA forecast, as the industry ramps up to keep pace with growing biofuel demand. The Trump administration's proposed biofuel mandates would increase biomass based diesel blending requirements in 2027 by 60% from 2025 levels. It's not just an American story. The U.S. Iran war is prompting other countries to accelerate efforts to pivot away from fossil fuels. For example, Indonesia, the world's top palm oil producer, recently said it will raise the mandatory blending rate for biodiesel made from palm oil from 40 to 50%. Soybean oil demand from the biofuels industry appears greater than the soybean oil industry can service, without the U.S. driving further into imports for food oils and converting more domestic oils into to fuels. StoneX analyst Bevan Everett wrote in April. In that light, soybean oil or veg oils in total provide a strong core of value to soybeans. Wow. Oh my God. Damn, this is going to be hell. This is going to be hell. No, you know what? Soy B doesn't have soybean oil. Till soy B, so those ETFs do not have soybean oil, which sucks. Which really sucks. I really wish there was a soybean oil ETF. You're going to have to buy futures then. You got to learn futures and buy it if you really want to ride the oil market specifically. There's no corn oil market, the futures market. There's no like overall biodiesel fuels futures market. There's only the soybean oil for some reason. Soybean has like soy meal. So the meal that goes to feed pigs, that has a separate market as well. But there's no ETF for that either. Um, Yeah, I read your comments, Built the Spill. I read your comments. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting pretty crazy right now. I guess I gotta really up my streaming game. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, everything I said is coming out true. It sucks. And then you commented about the open network crypto. I don't know much about crypto. Yeah, I wish we had kind of more of a finance oriented group in John Galt's show. We used to have a crypto guy, but he was just a Bitcoin guy. I don't know what else. And then we might have had more people join in if we didn't like kind of pivot more. I mean, yeah, John's little thing is like he wants his channel to be about talk about N words and all that, talk about the ghetto stuff, the ghetto economy. But when we first started, we were kind of more holistic. We talked about everything and anything. And I guess if we kept that going, we might have gotten to the point where we could have, okay, we have a panelist that can talk about crypto stuff, some other panelists talking about other things commodities or something, and then but we still have a guy talking about commercial real estate. So John can talk about like the DC real estate. We have Master Kim. He likes to talk about the uh commercial real estate like gas stations. So if you're really interested in that, John really needs to clip out every time Master Kim comes up and talks about liquor stores, strip malls, gas stations. So if you have a lot of money and you're interested in that area of the game, he's a lot more insightful. And also, Master Kim works for a fuel, energy, kind of like distributor. So he's been moved to the Venezuela, Latin America section. So if you wanted to talk to him about like, oh, what's up with the Venezuelan crude oil impact, what's up with like anything to do with the Gulf, where like if they're getting fuels from Ecuador and other Colombia, right? And you could talk to him about that too. He would know about that stuff because I think that's a lot more interesting discussion. Thank you. It was just crazy gains, and then the next day not. Yeah. It's always a touch and go. Everybody rushes in, rushes out. There's always mood swings in the market, but you have to find the longer term. You have to find the longer term. Okay, so let me continue reading this little article here. I got a little time, and then I can close out by reading some, going over the charts for HUT, IREN, and mRNA, and a little hymns, I guess, too. Might as well talk about that because it has earnings. The shorter term conundrum revolves around the question of whether this story, and by association, the spring soybean rally, is about played out. U.S. soybean acres are posed for a sharp increase. I think we're going to go sideways, so there's no rush to get in these type of plays right now. We had the first move up into with the Iran stuff. So it's kind of same thing with oil, crude oil, right? I think we're taking a break. And spring planting started off ahead of schedule. Brazil just harvested another record crop. China may buy more US beans or it may not. So we'll see what Trump does over there, right? When he visits and sees chairman. I'll call him the chairman. He's basically the chairman, Chairman Xi. You can call him president, but Chinese presidents typically never had absolute authority. Okay. After Mao Zedong, presidents in China didn't have full control of everything. But Chairman Xi has basically took out all his adversaries, right? I think he sentenced two military generals to execution this past week. So he's pretty much cleaned house. Anybody that could oppose him, he's basically gotten rid of. So he might as well be a king in China at this point. So I call him chairman. Call him the chairman. Farmers should certainly be encouraged by the longer term trends in biofuel demand here and abroad, but don't lose sight of the near term bearish flags. We're here to point we're to the point of extreme anxiety in regard to the energy situation, and $6 diesel at the pump isn't that far away for the majority of the country. Well, yeah, California's already there, way past that. I think $7, wrote John Zanker, senior analyst at Farmers Keeper, in an April report. However, we're also close to a hard break in the soy complex if and when a U.S.-Iran peace agreement is agreed to. The crop is going into the ground at a record pace, and an increase in acres is close to a given at this point. So there's going to be more supply, right? But then we have the drought. So you got the drought picture coming into view, and then you have potentially like the Hormuz Strait situation calming down into November, maybe. I've heard that Iran possibly has 4 more months where it can say no to any deal, so they can hold out maybe 4 more months. So this drama can last at least that much, and maybe as close as possible into the midterm elections. It really depends on if the GOP starts going like, yo, Trump, you're really gonna hurt our reelection chances here. So we're going to go against you now, right? But so far, I think Trump's kind of kept a real good leash on the GOP, where they have to really follow him, but that may break the longer this goes. So there's a lot of variables. So that's why I think this sideways thing is probably more likely to happen. We're not in a rush. This is just the first move. We can come back later in August, see how what's up. If it drops back down, okay, maybe then I'll really consider going into these type of things. But for now, it's like Bitcoin, AI, right? Lithium, those look more interesting. The space rocket stuff, we got that into June and July. So this isn't really a big deal to really run into. Yeah. Oh man, and there was something about El Nino too. Oh man, if I could predict the climate better, then yeah, sure. Or if I had some insider information, weather modification stuff. I think there's a lot of conspiracies about the weather modification in Iran too. Like, did you guys hear about the Dubai floods? So Dubai was doing some weather modification. They were seeding clouds around Dubai some years ago, and then all of a sudden they got these huge floods because they just overdid it. And there was these huge floods that happened at one point, and there was like a whole bunch of flooded out uh, islands because Dubai keeps building out into the sea. They can't go inland, so they build into the ocean and then they it's just like all this rain comes in and they all get flooded real easy. It's just like you guys are crazy, bro. uh, yeah. So Iran, they said like, oh, they weren't getting any right? They were all like just before all the revolution stuff, there was like all this talk about like Tehran, the capital of Iran, didn't have any water. It was like, no, there's no water here. We have to ration the water. So they had water rationing, fuel rationing, and all kinds of problems. But just before every time, they just started having these huge protests. So that's why you got to wonder if these routes are. Yeah, I'm not gonna go down that route with the conspiracy stuff. But I know what you're talking about. I definitely know. Yeah, about those things. Definitely Alex Jones tier level. I try to keep it financial based out here mostly. Any kind of financial conspiracies. COVID to me is a financial conspiracy too, because what they couldn't fix on the Federal Reserve side, they did it on the supply side. So by having COVID lockdowns, you fix the problem from the supply side, not the demand side, right? So if you know basic economics, there's supply side and there's demand side. Most of our modern economic theory is based on manipulation in the demand side. But COVID was interesting because it was a way to manipulate things on the supply side by locking everything down. And then enforcing the nearshoring stuff at the same time. There was like, yeah, there's a lot of supply side manipulation over that. So I could see people saying like COVID was a conspiracy for that reason, that because they couldn't fix it, They couldn't fix what they started in 2007, 2008 by doing quantitative easing and forcing the interest rates to zero created a moral hazard. A lot of people were taking out loans. There was a lot of credit that was bubbling up again, and then when they raised the interest rates, it broke the junk bond market. And then you had the Silicon Valley Bank break too because of some other associated reasons from that. So yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. All right, so this is the Bitcoin stuff. We are almost there. We're almost breaking out of this 80,900 purple line here. We're peeking out of it. Let's see if we can follow through, or maybe we have to pull back. I don't know yet. So watch that. In the meantime, watch HUT. Okay, watch HUT. HUT has kept this range. So we're still in this range. It doesn't look very bullish though, right? Friday we went up and then we pulled back down, and the rest of the day we stayed at the bottom of this range. Usually when you see two of these together like this, you're kind of going, "Ugh, is this ready to continue up anytime soon?" At least the range isn't that wide. Okay, so that's okay at least. So let's look at this a little more carefully. Okay, so let me zoom in. So this is the range we have here on HUT, okay, right now. So I base on the top of this and the bottom of this set by the earnings, after the earnings, and then the day after the earnings, we touch the low here. So we're kind of like gonna zigzag in this range. If it keeps this range tight like it is now, and we just keep staying here, I'm okay with this. Okay, I'm gonna be okay with this as long as it is. So let me give you the 48-minute. You see this? We already touching the 48-minute purple 18 moving average line. That's good. So let's look at IREN. How is IREN doing after that? So it was up like 15, 18% in the morning pre-market, right? Post-market was 24, 25 at the peak. It pulled back during the day, but it bounced back up. Perfect, because look at that. It's keeping above that purple, rising purple line. That's what you want to see. And then the range is still tight, okay? I put the range up here from the top of this to the bottom of this. I think this is an overshoot, and then we're trying to like get back up. So it still looks bullish. It's fine. We're staying in the upper half at least of this range. Good, good. Okay, and then let me go look at the other one, CIFR. This one is still bearish. You see, this is at the bottom of the range, so it looks worse than IREN. Okay, but we'll see. And then we can look at Core Z. This one had the worst look because after earnings it went down a lot deeper, creating this larger range. And now we're just like, okay, well, we're in the midpoint here, which is fine. All right, it's kind of at least near the rising 18s moving average, 78 minute. All right, that's okay. And then we have another contender, uh, NISB or something, Nibs. Oh man, I keep forgetting this name. This one used to be a part of Yandex. So this was the Russian Yandex. Okay, so this one has earnings next week. I guess Wednesday in the morning, May 13th. So this has a lot to figure out. So this is one I don't talk about. I think one of you guys played this one from April. You guys played this one. So one of you guys played it. But if you look at the long-term chart, you see it's kind of like because this used to be Yandex. It used to be a part of Yandex, and then after the Russian-Ukraine war, it split off, and then now it's trying to be a copycat of the HUT, the IREN, the APLD, and all that stuff. So last one is APLD. APLD looks fine. This one looks good. Good, has a tight range. All right, 18 moving average. It's above that with 78 minutes, but it's in the bottom half of the little thing. But it's a small range, still bullish. It's above the orange dotted line. The orange dotted line is the top that it made back in 2025 October. So one of these guys will be my number 2 pick. but the first pick is HUT. So I am going to I've been selling the HUT and I'm switching out with the leverage HUTG, right? So when I'm certain that this thing is ready to fly, then I'm just going to keep on doing leverage, leverage, leverage all the way up, because if this is going to be a new trend up, then I'm fine with that. So we're waiting for this to make its new trend up, okay? It's time to go. It's time to go, guys. You got until June. Guys got until June to make it up there. So those are the picks. Those are the picks. All right. Any basic principles you look for in volume? You look for the very high volume, right, for these things. So that's why when you look at this viewpoint here, then that's when it's clear, right? It's really clear, because you start seeing the volume coming in, because the last time we had such good volume was down here, right? So it was at the bottom of this range, and then now we broken out and we started going up. So this was like the main range from September, and then we started going up after the taco. So the taco pushed it into a new range up here, and it's too bad that we didn't get a dump like last week on the flag. Trump starts shooting missiles at Iran again. We get a nice little flush out down here. You could buy back at 67. You could go like leverage or whatever on HUT, but it didn't happen. So I had to wait for the earnings to be safe. Okay, we got the earnings, 30 something percent pop. Okay, I sell out. Now I'm gonna look to replace this with leverage. Okay, because if it holds here, then we can move up again. I don't want this thing to just like, okay, it decides to crash back down to $80 or $70 or $60, right? That could be possible too. That could be possible, but I'm thinking that this will hold, and then some news will come out and it will get ready to shoot up again pretty soon. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's look at Rocket Lab. Okay, how's that one looking? See, very good here. Let me look at the daily so I can do the same analysis here. Okay, so Rocket Lab, I used to play it when it was like doing this thing, zigzag, zigzag. So every time you bought it at like $3, $4, you could potentially sell at like 5 to 6. Okay, 5 to 6. And this was during the time when all the news for Rocket Lab, RKLB, was based uh, on rocketry. Launches. Okay, if they had a successful launch, it would pump temporarily, and then earnings would come around and will go back down. So every time it had a successful launch, it would pump. But for some reason, a lot of the space stocks started getting hyped up in 2024, and it broke out. It started breaking out of this range and going up here. So now we've been kind of like trying to figure out where do we like build up a new range. So I guess this was a range. Hard to say if this was really one. It's really sloppy, right? You had this little extra pump before the tariff stuff. You got the tariff stuff, crash it down, and then and all that. Yeah, okay, so this was this was the tariff stuff, and then it followed the stock market. This just followed the stock market, and then it just like petered out, I suppose. I guess people were just selling into the New Year's. I don't know. I guess that was it. There wasn't any news, maybe, but I haven't been following this too much. I was focused on semiconductors, so all the space stuff I haven't been following. But now you could see like we got this very strong bar, very high volume, right, compared to everything else right here for 1 week. 1 day. So if I change this to a weekly chart, let's see. So which one would be comparable? I guess this and this. Okay, this one was going to the top of the range. This one was at the bottom of the range, right? These two at the bottom of this range. And then we have one more. So this looks like a breakout to me. This looks like a breakout. I think we could go up a lot higher. ASTS will report earnings on Monday. So ASTS will be the next one up after the close. Okay, so it's dangling down here like this. So if it's good to go next week, then Rocket Lab should follow it like the whole group would move. This will be like the semiconductors, right? If one guy does well, they'll just assume like if two guys do well, so one guy does well, okay, maybe it looks like something's happening here. Two people do well, two companies report good earnings, then people get hyped up about the whole sector. It should be easy to push everything up like the semiconductors were doing. Okay. And then we're going to look at HIMS. So this is the last one I'll talk about. HIMS will report Monday after the close, as well as ASTS. This one's doing well. Peptides, this one, okay, peptides. I want to see this thing move and break 34. If it breaks 34, we can ride up back to 70s again. So this will be a good, easy ride up. So HIMS, and they have a leverage ETF apparently too. So I'll talk about that after this report's earnings. I want to see how this behaves after earnings. If it's bad earnings, then I just want to see it like touch 23 again and then fly back up. I don't want this thing just to like go back to 21 and just dangle here, okay, for the rest of the week. I want to see a quick drop and bounce, kind of like Moderna. Okay, Moderna, it was going down into earnings, and then after earnings, it stayed there at that level. And then the hantavirus stuff came out and it pushed it back up. So this was like, okay, it's going down into earnings. It had a little pump before the day before earnings. It had earnings. It got dropped down to here. The next day, it went down a little bit and then recovered. So that's what you want to see. The next day, it stayed within this little range that's building here. So I could just draw like a little range and you could see, right? It was doing this. It was kind of making a little mini range. And then we started getting the hantavirus stuff. Some guy wanted to pump it on Thursday, failed. Friday's pump, more successful. So now we're here. And then after market, it started melting up again. So it's somewhere around 56 by the time aftermarket was done. If it can break out of this range, this is a larger range here, so I consider this a larger range, then I will recommend going leverage and fly. I just don't know how much hantavirus can push this much further than $75. $75 is probably the expected place to land. And hopefully it can stay at 75 for a little bit longer after the hantavirus hype dies down, and then we get some FDA approval down the line. But I'm not sure about its FDA approval schedule. So you might want to see Martin Shkreli about that. Go to Martin Shkreli streams and bug him. So go like, what do you think about Moderna? What do you think about Moderna? But he's a fundamental guy, so he might be bearish on Moderna for all I know, and he might not even give you a reasonable take. He wants to short semiconductors. He already did it, right? With so he doesn't believe in hype cycles. He was always trying to short the quantum computing, and look how well that went. Quantum computing, it didn't crash or anything. It's still floating up here. So let's look at this one. IONQ. This one reported earnings. You see. So he's probably like, oh yeah, I'll just short around here, and it goes down, but it didn't crash. It could have just crashed right here after March and went down to like $11 or lower, but that didn't happen. It pumped with the market after the taco, so now it's up here, right? So that definitely a lot of juice in the market searching for other hype stocks. So you got the space companies coming out, you got the peptides, you got the hantavirus, you got the AI going to HUT, so there's stuff outside of AI semiconductors. There's AI software too. Oracle could be a one that will go very well into its earnings. So watch this one, right? Oracle did well last week. Good. That's good sign. ORCL. And then we have Palo Alto Networks. So the cybersecurity stocks have done very well last week. So 14.8%. So I think, you can probably decide, I will probably try to go leverage on these. CrowdStrike following that too. So there you go, right there. Okay. All right, guys, I'm done here. I'm done. I'll see you guys later. Toilet paper, I don't think so. I don't think you're going to do toilet paper. I don't think they could do toilet paper. So what about stocks? Yeah, we're just talking about the stocks. All right, man. I'll see you.